Hello, I'm Caroline CSE. Welcome to a new week of Bred to Win. Coming up, an in-depth look at the huge opportunities available through Darley, Australia, to breed to 4 wonderful sons of breed shaper Shamadal, Pinatubo, Victor Ladorum, Earthlight and Blue Point. And Sedgenho studs Brian Clark in Arrowfield studs, the horse who made you love racing. But first, plenty happening in the thoroughbred world. Let's catch up on the Oz Horse news of the week. While the world is mourning the loss of one of the greatest leaders in global history, the racing and breeding industry remember Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II as one of the greatest proponents of the thoroughbred in the world. The Queen will be remembered best by so many of us for her striking regal appearances at Royal Ascot, in particular her unbridled joy at the win of her wonderful mare Estimate in the 2013 Ascot Gold Cup. Her knowledge of thoroughbred bloodlines and the animal itself was unrivalled. The Australian Turf Club, one of only 2 race clubs in the world to have a racecourse with the royal prefix Royal Randwick, held a fitting tribute at Saturday's Rose Hill meeting, commemorating the Queen's many visits to Australia, with her famous racing silks on display and a minute's silence around the course. Thoroughbred Breeders New South Wales held their annual awards on Saturday at Rose Hill, attracting a number of major breeders and sponsors to honour the successes of the state breeding industry in the past season. The New South Wales President's Small Breeders Award went to Matthew Irwin, who bred Douay and Baccarat Baby from his mare Mearlust. Champion New South Wales broodmare was Mullover, dam of this year's Golden Slipper winner Fireburn, while Rebel Dane won the award as champion 2-year-old sire, with both awards accepted by Laurel Oaks Louis Mahika and a large contingent of owners.
She's clearly an outstanding broodmare. She's got a 2-year-old now coming through. It looks like he's got ability. Missed the next season, so we're just hoping that she can continue a brilliant legacy that she's started here. But we really appreciate what she's done for us. We appreciate the award.
Champion New South Wales broodmare sire was the late great Arrowfield stud stallion Redute's Choice, with his daughters producing Group 1 winners last season, including Animo, Hitotsu, Profondo and Regal Power. Champion first season sire was Newgate Farms Russian Revolution, while the big gong for champion New South Wales stallion was won by Yarraman Park's champion Australian sire I Am Invincible. Generous auction items from Coolmore Stud, Godolphin Stud, Binary Stud and Silverdale Farm resulted in some spirited bidding that netted Thoroughbred Sport Horse Association over $13,000 to go towards prize money for thoroughbred classes in New South Wales.
In Secret's lengthening the outside.
Saturday's Rose Hill Garden meeting threw up a couple of exciting Godolphin 3-year-olds, with the filly In Secret beating the boys in the Group 2 run to the Rose. By champion Australian sire I Am Invincible from Schwazier mare Eloping, In Secret was bought by the Darley Godolphin team for $900,000 at the Magic Millions yearling sale. I Am Invincible already has 2 stakes winners this season and is 4th on the general sires list, behind 4-time champion sire Snitzel, while Eloping foaled a filly, full sister to In Secret at the weekend. In Secret was bred by Michael Christian's Longwood Farm in Victoria in partnership with Sedgenho, and the I Am Invincible Schwazier Nick has a 100% strike rate of 11 winners from 11 runners.
Got the upper hand though, Golden Mile, and has drawn clear here in the Ming dynasty.
It was a Darley group double when their support of their Golden Rose winner Astern as a stallion resulted in his son winning the Ming dynasty quality and heading for a Golden Rose attempt himself. Golden Mile's dam Calaverite was a Gimcrack and St Albans Stakes winner by Lonhro, while Astern is by Medalia d'Oro from the great Triscay family of Elise and La Baraka. He stands this season at Darley, New South Wales, at a fee of only $11,000.
Prime candidate just in front from Jamaica. Kiku wide out for the big run.
A Carbine Club Stakes winner over the famous Randwick Mile, Kiku may be heading there again for the Epsom after a strong win in the Group 2 Theo Mark Stakes. A $300,000 Magic Millions yearling, the full sister to Newmarket Handicap winner Zutori, Kiku was sold by Amarina Farm to Denise Martin and Star Thoroughbreds. Zoostar has the book full sign up at Widden Stud this year at a fee of $198,000. More Than Ready mare Rose of Mulan had a wonderful day with 2 stakes winners in different states. Shades of Rose, racing in the colours of her breeders Steve and Louise Gillard, won the Group 2 Shirako Stakes as a daughter of Swettenham studs Rubik, while at Flemington, Scolopini, an 8-year-old son of Rose of Mulan and 4-time champion sire Snitzel, took out the listed Sofitel. Rose of Mulan's dam Lady Mulan was a top filly of her own generation, winning the Light Fingers and the Adrian Knox Stakes.
Alligator blood tiring. I'm thunderstruck over the top.
Also at Flemington, the Group 1 feature, the Makybe Diva Stakes, was part of a great day for New Zealand's Rich Hill stud. I'm Thunderstruck's win in the Makybe Diva added to victories in the Toorak and the Golden Eagle and second placings in the All-Star Mile, the Doncaster and Memsey Stakes, earning his OTI connections over $7 million. His sire Shocking won the same race 12 years ago, now stands at Rich Hill at a fee of $12,500 NZ plus GST. Shocking's barnmate Poisier sired the winner of Australasia's other Group 1 on Saturday, the Tarzino Trophy at Hastings in New Zealand. Dark Destroyer won the Rough Habit Plate in Brisbane in the winter and is from an All-American mare. His sire Poisier, a Choisier half-brother to Divine Prophet, stands at Rich Hill at a fee of $12,500 NZ plus GST. And finally, from Flemington on Saturday, the Let's Elope Stakes went to Ridden Tycoon's Kiss on All Four Cheeks, a former high-class West Australian race mare from the Blackfriars mare Rosie Rocket, who's also a multiple stakes winner in the West. This week's English Digital sale wraps up on Wednesday, and one of the highlights is the Snitzel mare Volpine, winner of the Winona Girl, the Starlight and Hortensia Stakes. She's from the famed Chiara family of Star Witness and Nostradamus, and bidding ends for the early September sale on Wednesday, September 14.
About a length and a half, 2 lengths Clarity, then Say Magique, Nana Guy.
The English Graduate of the Week has a Widden stud flavour with Nana Guy from the final crop of late Golden Slipper winner Sebring, successful in the listed Capped-on Teeb Stakes at Flemington. Nana Guy's from the dual stakes-winning Shamadal mare Shamalia. She was bred by Mike Howard and sold by Blue Gum Farm at last year's English Premier Yearling Sale in Melbourne, bought by Rosemont Stud for $450,000. And Sebring's son Sapido also sired a Flemington Stakes winner on Saturday with Buenos Noches, successful in the listed Poseidon Stakes. He was an English Classic Sale graduate sold by Widden Stud from the Northern Meteor mare Koi. It was a first stakes success for Sapido as a sire. He stands at Widden this season for only $8,800. Time for a break on Bred to Win. Coming up, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week and Darley Stud's great opportunities for mare owners through their 4 Sons of Shamadal.
Coming home strongly now, Dynastic, holding there, kicking hard, finding like a very good horse, and what a return, Dynastic.
The Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week saw the return to the winners list of the Karaka Millions winner by their young sire Al Manzoor. Dynastic was strong to the line in the listed Colin Meads Trophy at Hastings and heads towards the Group 1 New Zealand 2000 Guineas. He's from the Volksrad mare Mia, from the family of Lady Lafay and Eagle Mountain. Dynastic sire Al Manzoor by Wootton Bassett has also sired a number of second crop stakes winners in Europe this current flat season. Darley Stud has a great record of bringing some of the most influential global stallions to Australia, not least of all the sire of the mighty Winx, Street Cry. Basically a nephew of Street Cry, Shamadal, a breed shaper himself, has also had a huge influence in Australia, and that's set to continue through the Sons of Shamadal, standing out here this year, Pinatubo, Victor Ladorum, Earthlight and Blue Point.
Shamadal by 4 in second and Valorum, third Oratorio.
Alistair, it's just a beautiful day here at Kelvinside. I mean, it's wonderful, the rain that has made everything so green, and maybe a bit too much rain, but it is just glorious this time of the year.
It is. We're having a fantastic season. New South Wales has never looked so good, and this is when you want to live in the Hunter Valley. We've already had a lot of people through admiring our new stallions, and we expected a positive response, and we've got it. They're great horses, and they look the part.
But Karen McAvoy on Shamadal is going to romp home with the St James's Palace Stakes.
Well, we're looking at Shamadal and the sons of Shamadal. I mean, the influence that this stallion has worldwide is quite astronomical, but I'm always really interested in looking back at them as racehorses, some of these great stallions. And people forget what a champion racehorse he was. He won the Dewhurst, the French 2000 Guineas, French Derby, and St James's Palace Stakes. That is one elite racehorse.
He was a horse with a great story. He was diagnosed as a wobbler as a weanling, and he was sold for only $50,000 as a yearling, but he belied the so-called experts, and Mark Johnson trained him as a 2-year-old, Saeed trained him as a 3-year-old. He was one of the greats for Godolphin. As you said, he won. He was 3 out of 3 as a 2-year-old, the champion 2-year-old winning the Dewhurst Stakes, an elite mile and a quarter horse at 3. He was a dominant horse of his year. He injured himself just before the Eclipse Stakes, so he stood in his southern hemisphere before he stood in the north, and he only stood 5 seasons here, but he had an immediate impact. He got Faint Perfume, who you know well. In his first crop, he also got Captain Sonador. Yeah, he was a terrific horse down here, and unfortunately injury prevented him from shuttling throughout his career. But wow, what a stallion he turned out to be. I think he sired 161 stakes winners all up. Lope de Vega is his best son at stud so far. And he was from his first crop. Lope de Vega sired 99 stakes winners so far, so he's proven that Shamadal's a great sire of sires. I think every son of Shamadal at stud has sired a stakes winner somewhere or other. So what we've got to look forward to is immense.
But we're here to talk about the sire sons in particular, and Australian breeders are just so lucky to have some wonderful representatives to choose from amongst your Darley stallions.
Well, we'll start with Pinatubo. Eat, sleep, win, repeat is the tagline that our nominations man, Arvind Shadi, came up with. And wow, that's perfectly apt, because he was a very laid-back, relaxed horse who got to the races and just did what he did. He never did much in the morning, but he did plenty in the afternoon. He kept it all for race day, and he just got better and better. He started off at Wolverhampton, a lowly track in England, went through Epsom to Royal Ascot, won the Chesham Stakes at Royal Ascot in course record time for a juvenile. Then he went on to Goodwood, but it was in the National Stakes in Ireland that he really announced himself.
But it's Pinatubo accelerating away in the Goffs Vincent O'Brien National Stakes.
Dominant win by 9 lengths, quickening clear from the furlong, and Timeform described it as the defining juvenile performance of our era. They made him Horse of the Year as a 2-year-old. Not many achieved that. And of course, Garrow, after the National Stakes, he went on to win the Dewhurst equally impressively, beating a high-class field. They were trailing in his wake.
The Royal Blue Pinatubo, who's in front of him now. 6 from 6. Pinatubo wins by a couple.
He came back, of course, at 3, won the Prix Jean Prat. I guess COVID obviously has played with his time in being able to come to Australia, but so great to see him here now.
It is terrific, and everyone who sees him, wow. I mean, he's such a powerful... Think about the Shamadal line and his relation Street Cry is they've got substance. Their trainers love them because you can train them. They've got plenty of size, substance, bone. They're masculine horses. He's a great example. He's got great quality for a Shamadal. He's got a beautiful head on him. He's got great depth and length and strength, and he moves well. Wow, he's some horse, and a terrific racehorse. He was an outstanding racehorse. Probably at his best at 7 furlongs and below when they tried him at a mile, despite the fact that his father won at a mile and a quarter and his mother won at a mile and a quarter. He didn't get a mile. He basically ran 3 times second in a mile in elite company. At 7 furlongs and below, he was never beaten, and he was an absolute star.
How's he been received? Describe, conformationally, obviously there's so much speed there, but what sorts of mares do you think he suits?
Well, I think he's going to suit a lot of mares, and the Danehill line suits Shamadal very well. But he is a heavy horse, and breeders will have to watch that. You don't want to send him too heavy a mare, I wouldn't have thought. but he's going to find a lot of, everyone who's seen him so far just ogles over him. They all want to send 2 mares instead of 1. He's covering a full book this year, extremely popular as you can imagine. So he's going to get every opportunity. We've got a lot of nice mares lined up for him. He's an outcross to all of the Danehill line blood we've got. We know that Shamardal works so well with that Danehill line, so we're in good shape.
Victor Ladorum and Barcelona have got it at the moment.
Looking at Victor Ladorum, another son of Shamardal here at Kelvinside, a 2-time Group 1 winner in France. I mean, that is elite. We're talking about some of the best bred horses in the world compete at that high level in France. All those Aga Khan horses, and it is just elite racing on a global scale. Won the Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère. What an effect that race has had on the breed.
Absolutely. I mean, he won the right races. I think that's the key message. And so he won the Lagardère, as you say. And then at 3, he came back. He was trained by Andre Fabre, the same as Lope de Vega was. And at 3, like Lope de Vega, he had a couple of prep runs into the French Guineas. And then he won the French Guineas like Lope de Vega did and like Shamardal did. So he has a very similar profile to his father and to his father's best sire son. So I think of all the 4 stallions by Shamardal that we stand, he's the one closest in profile to his father, and he could be the one. You don't know.
And again, then how do you describe him, for a mare owner thinking, I wonder if the match-up works?
He's got plenty of depth. He stands about 16 hands. He's got a lovely head, a good head for a Shamardal again. Plenty of rein. He's got tremendous depth of girth and a tremendous hind quarter. He moves beautifully. He reminds me of Street Cry the way he moves, and Street Cry's from his family. So he's by Shamardal, from Shamardal and Street Cry's family. So he's got a lot going for him. Again, I don't think he's a difficult horse to mate.
King Neptune on the far side has led all the way. Earthlight now sticking his head down.
And of course, you've sent some of these wonderful sons of Shamardal to Northwood in Victoria, which is great for breeders. They're really improving the mares, the brood mares within Victoria. So, some of these better brood mares get a great opportunity to get that Shamardal blood. Starting with Earthlight, of course, the pre-morning Middle Park Stakes winner. Again, an elite racehorse at 2. He won 5 from 5 as a juvenile. And I guess here the main talking point is the Newmarket track record in winning that Middle Park Stakes.
Absolutely. They've been racing at Newmarket for a long time, Caro, and to win a Group 1 2-year-old race, probably the top 6 furlong 2-year-old race in England, he won it in track record time. But Shamardal's 2017 crop, so that was Pinatubo, Victor Ladorum and Earthlight. What amazing crop that was. I mean, I think it was his 11th crop, but a breakout crop nonetheless. I mean, to have the 3 top 2-year-olds in Europe was unbelievable. Earthlight was one of the very best, as you said, 5 from 5 as a 2-year-old, went over from France to England, having won the pre-morning Group 1, won the Middle Park. What a superstar he was.
He's interesting. He's from a new approach mare, so the Galileo in there as well. And again, such a great outcross for Australian mares, but has that speed. He covered 109 mares last year. And, what's the general feeling about Earthlight? I mean, he's spoken of as being the spitting image of Lope de Vega.
He's very much an Aussie horse. People who see him in Victoria, we had our parades in Victoria last weekend, and he was the horse that got most plaudits and got most business because he's a real Aussie tile horse. He's strong, he's muscular, he's got a great walk to him. He's got a great temperament. He's a real dude, and everyone who sees him just loves him. People like us 2-year-olds in Australia, and he was a very, very good 2-year-old.
Blue Point is chipping away at Bassards, the near side under William Burek.
Blue Point, of course, what a remarkable tough sprinter he was. I mean, he had the runs on the board over a number of seasons, won 3 Group 1 sprints at Royal Ascot. And the beauty of Darley is, of course, the mares he's covered in his full book so far. Animato, the dam of your latest star in Animo, who could be absolutely anything. Golden Slipper winner Forensics, Canedna, Russetting, he is such a great outcross for that Danehill blood, isn't he?
Yeah, and he was a horse that Charlie Appleby announced himself straight away. As soon as they galloped him, he knew he was good. He won a Group 2 as a 2-year-old. He won group races from 2 right through to his 5-year-old career. He was an absolute star racehorse. So of course, he's still the only horse to have won 3 Group 1 sprints at Royal Ascot. He won the races that Aussies can relate to. So in Dubai, he won the Alquoz Sprint. That's been won by Hortensia and Buffering. In England, of course, he won the King Stand Stakes. Now, that's won this year by Nature Strip. We all follow that race so closely. And then he won the Diamond Jubilee, which, of course, Black Caviar won. So he won the races that we can relate to. He was an absolute superstar sprinter. He's been well supported since he got here. He's now in his 3rd season here. He's been superbly supported by all the best breeders, with obviously particularly in Victoria, but plenty of people from New South Wales have sent mares down as well. So he's going to get every chance. His oldest are yearlings going to the sales next year. They're sold well as weanlings. They're great sorts, like he is himself. He's probably the most like his father in terms of looks. I mean, their heads are almost exactly the same. But who's going to pick the best one? I don't know.
That's the lottery, isn't it, of it? But some great opportunities for mare owners in New South Wales and Victoria. You know, and we've spoken in the past about the incredible record that Darley has here in Australia with imported stallions, you know, such as obviously Winx's sire, Street Cry, the close relation to Shamardale himself and so many others. So it is great to get that incredible representation of elite European blood. We are talking the elite of the elite, aren't we?
I think that's it, and it's you know, you've got the opportunity to get a really, really good horse, a Winx, you know, or a Happy Clapper, or, you know, one of those. You know, Shamardale starred Able Friend in Hong Kong. You know, he was a great sire in Hong Kong as well as here, Pakistan Star and horses like that. So we're talking about the ability to get an absolute top-notcher like an Animo. You know, that's what these shuttle horses can give you.
The G1 Goldmine focus on Shamardale and his sire sons show the 4 stallions featured on Bred to Win generally follow the pattern in their racing careers, similar to a sire son such as Lope de Vega, and that is speed. Interestingly though, if you want a miler, it seems 4-time group winner Pinatubo and 3-time group winner Victor Ladorum are your best bets. Looking at the nicks that have worked best with Shamardale, Danehill comes out on top with 14% being Group 1 winners and 17% stakes winners. Sadler's Wells, Green Desert, Darshan and Galileo are also prominent, and another feature is that mares from Galileo's dam Urban Sea crossed with the Shamardale line produce nearly 12% stakes winners to runners. Well, we love our Aussie bred stallions. We're so fortunate here in Australia to have access to this elite international outcross blood thanks to the huge global Darley operation. Time for a break on Bred to Win. Next up, Sedgenho Studs' Brian Clark with the filly who beat Winx in Arrowfield Studs, horse who made you love racing.
So I guess I'm a bit of a latecomer to the Australian racing scene, but when I first came to Australia, I guess the horse that really, captured my imagination was a mare called First Seal. So when I arrived to Australia, I came to work at Think Big Stud for Dato Chan Chinnam and Duncan Ramage. And at the time there was a 2-year-old there called First Seal. So she was in work with John Thompson, and she had her first start, and then she came back to the farm for a spell before the Spring Carnival. When she came back to the farm, she was just she was just the most beautiful mare. A great type, you can see. She made a lot of money as a yearling, and you can really see why. She was an outstanding, very physically impressive filly at the time. So she went back in for the Spring Carnival. I remember she won her maiden, and then she was, I think, pretty big odds in the T-Rolls. I remember back then having pretty decent wager on her at the time. At pretty big odds, I think she was about 20-1 to win the T-Rolls. So obviously she went on, she won that race and then progressed to win the Flight Stakes, the Group 1. So really that was the first horse, I guess, that in Australia that I had something to do with, that was really a top liner. Obviously she made a bit of a habit of beating Winx. At the time we didn't quite realise what she was beating, but you know, Winx obviously went on and did what she did. So First Seal was a really outstanding, very high-class mare, and also, you know, physically, you know, a very beautiful, very well put together horse. So really, she's a mare that really captured my imagination.
And I remember, you know, she used to go back and spell there, and then she'd come back through the pre-training at Think Big Start in the racing barn there. And it must have been so exciting every time she'd come back and have a spell, because you'd be able to look after this wonderful mare who by that point was a Group 1 winner. And tell me what, you know, if you're fairly new to it all, to be involved with that sort of mare.
Yeah, it was a real privilege to be able to work with a mare like that, really at the start of my time here in Australia. It was a great privilege. Every day, you know, come in, she was very, she had a great temperament, but at the same time you could tell she was a strong-willed, was a strong-willed horse. You could see why she was so good. She knew she was good. But to come in, you know, to have her spelling there and then obviously doing her pre-training as well, I guess getting that exposure to, you know, a really top-line horse yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, and I guess you feel that now when you're involved with like Vegas showgirl Winx's mother and all these wonderful mares here at Sedge and Ho Stud.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to work at, there was lots of great horses to think big, and then coming to Sedge, there's Broodmare Band here really is littered with, stars of the past on the track. So I've been very fortunate with the horse I've been able to work with here in Australia.
And first Seal's going to be much too good, wins it by 3. Winx is second.
That is Bred to Win for this week. We'll be back again next week with more great stories from the thoroughbred breeding industry, including a look at the speedy son of So You Think Peltzer with gorgeous first foals at Twin Hills Stud. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.